Talkline on MetroNews. Welcome back. Hoppy Kercheval with you. Coming up in 12 minutes, a little more than 12 minutes, 5 college football games that made a difference this weekend. Alan Taylor will join us from MetroNews. But right now, please welcome Democratic candidate for Congress in the 2nd Congressional District, running against Republican Shelley Capito, is Howard Swint of Charleston. Howard, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Hoppy. It's great to be here. Thanks
It's great to have you here. Okay, you said during the break, we were talking off air, you said, I'm going to demonstrate to you how and why I'm going to beat SMC. Fire away, bro.
Okay, well, where shall we begin? Let me ask you a question, Hoppy.
Oh, you're going to interview me?
Well, let's see if I can.
All right, go ahead. That's fine.
What would you say were the top 5 accomplishments of Shelley Capito's 12 years in Congress?
What would I say? Oh, I don't know.
I'll give you some time.
Well, go ahead. You ask it rhetorically. You go ahead.
Okay, well, I would say 0. As a matter of fact, I would suggest that during the financial crisis, her committee, the House Financial Services Committee, failed miserably in their oversight of the nation's mortgage lenders and banks, Wall Street banks in particular. And I know why, because their silence was purchased, Hoppy. They were supposed to be watching the watchers, the SEC, all those different government agencies that are under their jurisdiction, and she failed. They failed miserably. As a matter of fact, I honestly believe, as Bernie Sanders said on TV yesterday, that not only is the United States Senate controlled by the Wall Street banks, but the entire Congress is.
Controlled by the Wall Street banks.
Absolutely. Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney, J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America. And I'm going to keep going because this is the list of campaign contributors to a congresswoman in West Virginia from the 2nd Congressional District, Shelley Capito. Goldman Sachs, Mortgage Bankers Association, the credit unions, Future Traders Association, hedge fund managers, credit card companies, pawnbrokers, Hoppy. Come on, are you kidding me?
So if you are in Congress, who are you going to take campaign contributions from when you're in Congress?
The people, of the people, by the people, for the people, the way the government is supposed to be run, not from smokeless tobacco companies like R.J. Reynolds and Philip Morris Tobacco and Don Blankenship. Are you kidding me? The American Banker Association said Shelley Capito was a hero. If you Google Shelley Capito, and I know you might do this because you've done it before, American Bankers Association, Shelley Capito, and Hero, you'll see where she went before a group in Washington, and they are lauding her for further deregulation of the banking sector. As a matter of fact, she paraded one of her campaign contributors, the president of a small community bank here in Charleston, before a committee here at the Robert C. Byrd Courthouse, and he said if he had his way, he'd eliminate Dodd-Frank. And I thought that is ludicrous, Hoppy. That's ludicrous. Why would you dial it back to
well,
that?
There's some because there are suggestions that bill, that law, which I think is over 2,000 pages, has an unbelievable amount of additional regulations that are going to make it harder for banks in general. Just again, what we have with this administration is additional regulation that is tamping down the private sector. That would be the counter argument to which you would reply
that, according to one bank president, they had to hire one additional employee for compliance. Come on, seriously. How many trillions of dollars did the taxpayers have to take out of our pockets to save the too big to fail banks that now today, Hoppy, are a greater systemic risk to the nation's economy? The only people that came out ahead during the financial crisis were the too big to fail Wall Street banks and people like Shelley Capito, who are going to be memorialized forever in books like Throw Them All Out for her insider trading. And you wrote on this, Hoppy. I salute you. You wrote on this, but I would suggest to you, and you'll learn more about this, that there were a number more than just one trades that were made by Shelley Capito.
Let me ask you about that. Howard Swint is with us, Democratic running for Congress in the 2nd District against Shelley Capito. And I wrote about it. I don't remember all the details, but you said something very pointed there. Are you today accusing Congresswoman Shelley Capito of using her position in Congress to, through herself or her husband, engage in insider trading? Because I think that's what you just said, but I want you to give you a chance to be clear.
Yeah, they have profited not only through the financial crisis, through the trading of non-public insider information through Citigroup and Travelers Insurance. And I've got it right here in front of me. I have the dates and the amounts of money that were traded. As a matter of fact, on November 18th of 2008, at the depths of the financial crisis, they sold between $100,000 and $250,000 of Citigroup stock, and on the same day, turned around and purchased what are called call options. Now, what does that mean? That means that they dumped it on that particular day, but then they turned around and bought on the very same day the options of buying those same stocks back, predicated on what they believe would be the stock's appreciation. That's ludicrous.
So she and her husband, you're saying she and her husband, Charlie, benefited financially from her position in Congress.
Absolutely, and I'll go beyond that, Hoppy. Are
you calling her a criminal?
No, it wasn't illegal, Hoppy. It was not illegal. This was before the Stock Act was enacted. It was highly unethical. Look, did people from West Virginia send Shelley Capito to Congress to do insider trading, to trade on insider information that was non-public and that today would be illegal, that today, or even back then, it was illegal for people in the private sector? Look, don't ask me. This is the guy who wrote the book, the Heritage Foundation Stanford professor, Peter Schweitzer. And as a matter of fact, Paul Neiden got him on the phone and said, what do you think about this? Shelley Capito believes that you should retract these statements. And he said, why would I retract facts?